Let's talk about what's happening within the textile sector right now, and who better than Rachana Shah, the Textile Secretary, joining in on the show right now to talk about where and the ongoings of the sector right now. Ms. Shah, great to have you today on ET Now. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Let's first talk about Prime Minister's Mitra scheme. You know, this is the first of many steps for realizing an Aatmanirbhar Bharat in the textile sector. In fact, it has helped to be one of the biggest ever infrastructure initiatives as well for the textile sector. How's the entire textile value chain expected to transform, according to you, under this scheme?
Thank you very much, and a pleasure to talk to you. Yes, indeed, it's right that in a big boost to the textile sector, the government has announced setting up of 7, PM Mitra Parks. These are mega integrated textile region and apparel parks. So we do expect that this will help in bringing the entire value chain related to textile sector in one place. We are looking at huge investments, coming in through these PM Mitra Parks, and really it can act as a big boost to the sector. It's expected that each of these PM Mitra Parks will, lead to an investment of at least about 10,000 crores in each park, and employment generation of about 1 lakh direct jobs as well as 2 lakh indirect jobs. So when we look at the 7 Mitra Parks altogether, we are talking of an investment in this sector to the tune of 70,000 crores and an employment generation of about 20 lakh employment opportunities. So yes, it is a big boost, for the textile sector, and it is in line with the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister of the 5F, which is, he has been emphasizing on farm to fiber to factory to fashion and foreign. It's also in line with the vision of the Government of India of the textile sector, in the next 7 to 8 years by 2030 becoming a 250 billion sector, and the exports increasing to about 100 billion also by 2030. So yes, we do expect that this mega initiative will help in creating the scale and size in the textile sector.
Very interesting. Like you also highlighted, investments of nearly 70,000 crore rupees is what's expected to flow in on account of, the Mitra schemes. Tell me, what are the benefits expected to accrue to investors in these parks in terms of incentives? I mean, do you have plans to incentivize, say, the first movers or anchor investors?
Right. So, each of these mega textile parks will have what is called the plug-and-play facility. So these are, I should have mentioned that these are, 1,000-acre plus parks. So this is really, we're talking of large scale and size, and they will have plug-and-play facility for manufacturing units to just come, and, all the clearances, etc., would be readily available. So they can just set up their, facility, their plant machinery, and start production. We'll also be having core common infrastructure in terms of common processing facilities, also effluent treatment plants and so on. All the utilities, that's power and water, etc., would be available, at reasonable cost, and also in terms of reliable availability of these. There will also be common infrastructure in terms of skilling, in terms of R&D support, in terms of logistics, and also housing, etc., for the workers. Now, talking specifically in terms of incentives, yes, for the first occupants of the Mitra Parks, there will be an incentive, which would be to the tune of about 3% of their sales turnover. So this is really for the first movers, and so yes, we do expect that this would also be an added initiative or an incentive rather for the manufacturing units to set up their plants in the Mitra Parks.
Now, given that the first PM Mitra Park was launched in Tamil Nadu just recently, what kind of a response have you received? When can we see similar announcements from the other states selected, and when will they be operational?
Yes, you're right. The first Mitra, one of the Tamil Nadu, we did have a formal launch of the Mitra Park on the 22nd. And we are expecting that very shortly for the others as well, the formal launch will happen. Nevertheless, the other preparatory work in terms of, this is basically an initiative which brings the state and the center together in a partnership. So we are already talking to the other 6 states as well in terms of, forming of the special purpose vehicle and the other processes and the other steps which are to be taken before the manufacturing and the other, facilities can come up in these parks. So we are already, in taking necessary steps in that regard. And very shortly, we'll also be having a formal launch of the other Mitra Parks as well. We are speaking to the states in that regard.
And the PLI 2.0 scheme, that seems to be in the works due to an unutilized balance of about 4,000 crores. What are the changes that are being planned versus the first PLI scheme, and when will the scheme be finalized?
So, the government has launched the first PLI scheme, which is targeting our sunrise sectors, the man-made fiber, apparel, and fabric, and also technical textiles. And we already have, more than 60-odd applicants, and the workers, the investment has started coming in, and we are expecting that this will also, be a big boost, especially in these sunrise sectors, which have a huge potential for growth, both in the domestic market as well as the external market. We are also considering a second, PLI scheme, but that is in the process in terms of approval, etc., is presently on, and I'm hopeful that very shortly maybe we can have the second PLI scheme as well. And this would be targeting more the value-added products.
Given that China Plus One as well has largely been, a sentiment that's been echoing around the world of late, it seems like a fairly opportune time for a scheme of this scale. From a 3% share in the global apparel trade in 2021, where is this number headed?
Yes, you are right. A lot of countries are looking to diversifying, their sourcing, and we are certainly looking at a lot of investment, both from domestic players as well as external players coming into the Mithra Parks. And as I said, the entire integrated value chain can be located in one particular location in these Mithra Parks. So in line with that sentiment which you just mentioned, where a lot of countries are looking at diversifying their sources, we do expect that we'll have investments flowing into these Mithra Parks. And, the kind of ecosystem that these Mithra Parks will create within the park, as also, in terms of the catchment area around, I think it would be, it could be a game changer for the textile sector.
Right. Mishra, also, last year we did see FTAs with UAE, with Australia come into force. What is the status right now on some of these other key markets, and how is it that you expect these FTAs to place India compared to, say, other peers like Vietnam or a Bangladesh?
Yes, you're right. Last year we did have, FTAs with UAE come into force, as well as the FTA with Australia, and we do expect that these FTAs would, result in a boost to the textile sector, especially the value-added segments. The government is also currently in negotiation with other major trading partners, including the UK and the EU, as well as Canada. And in all these markets, these are already, major textile destinations for textile exports. And with opening up of these sectors, our products will become more and more, competitive as compared to our competitors, from within the Asia region, South Asia, and East Asia as well. So yes, I think tariff concessions through FTAs will certainly be a big boost in expanding our overseas market. And I think in that regard, if we are able to bring in the scale and size through the Mitra Parks, we'll become even more globally competitive in terms of our pricing and quality.
Sure, interesting, because we do have the skill for sure. But tell me, EU, as we understand, had proposed a carbon tax, which could perhaps possibly attract 20 to 35% duty on Indian shipments. Do you see this clouding FTA talks between the two sides, and any adverse impacts on textile exports in particular, you think? So, typically in an FTA, there would be, discussions not just on tariff, but also on
the tariff barriers, if there is, yes, you are right, there is talk of sustainability and all of these elements becoming more and more important as we go ahead. And I think the industry in India will also have to, be mindful of it and gear up. And I think we are already starting to have a conversation in that regard. It would be premature for me to say anything more at this point. But yes, the industry and the government is mindful of, developments of this sort.
Your time. Thank you so much for joining in and giving us more perspective as to what really the outlook is when it comes to the textile space and the plans that have been envisioned for India.